you open up Pinterest and write industrial design, the whole page is full of these sleek minimal designs with clean geometrical shapes and subtle metallic finishes. And we all know that 90% of them are just renders. But there's one company that turns these Pinterest dreams into reality: Teenage Engineering. In this video, we'll talk about who exactly is Teenage Engineering, how they design their products, what is their design philosophy, and in the end, we'll discuss the challenges that are stopping them from becoming a design giant like Dyson or Apple. But before we dive deep, don't forget to subscribe if you like to watch more content related to design and science behind the products. So Teenage Engineering is this Swedish company founded in 2005 by 4 people: Jesper, Jens, David, and another David. 3 of them were already co-founders of a browser-based gaming site called NetBabyWorld. But the company went bankrupt in 2003, and the 4th founder, David, was heading audio department at EA Dice, which is again a game developer company. Now, if you look at their core skills, Jesper was into fashion and had a good sense of design. Jens was doing software development from a long time. David Eriksson was great at designing PCBs and hardware. Now, I already mentioned David was an audio head with some experience in programming as well. Now, although first they tried to make a lamp and a clock radio, but if you combine all this skill set, it will naturally spit out one product category: audio equipments. So with this combination of design, hardware, software, and audio, they developed the first product, OP1. They presented it in the NAMM show in 2010 and then launched for retail sale in 2011 for $900. It turned out to be an instant hit, as it was not just a synthesizer but also a sampler, a sequencer, and a controller. The OP1's compact rectangular form factor is one of its most defining features. It's about the size of a small keyboard with a sleek anodized aluminum body that gives it a premium feel. The top surface and the buttons are made up of white molded plastics with a grainy finish and punchy colors for the signifiers. The knobs have slot-shaped debossed pattern on the sides for easy grip and one slot on the top to attach accessories. The speakers, mic, and the level indicators are in the dotted pattern. Teenage Engineering used this dotted design element again in 2021 for one more project, but we'll discuss that later. On the left side, there are the input-output ports. First, we have a on-off toggle switch, one mini USB for audio data, and 2 3.5mm jacks, one for input and one for the output. On the rear side, we have 4 rubber feet to avoid slippage and 2 threaded inserts to attach another set of accessories or to put it directly on a stand. But the most interesting feature on the back is this cover for the PCB, which has all the 4 input-output signifiers debossed as well as embossed in braille to make the OP1 more accessible. That's a really good thing to incorporate accessibility in your design. Now, one of the most striking aspects of OP1 is the simplicity of its interface and buttons. But a small disclaimer before we go into detail. It's simple in the sense that everyone can understand and access it, but you have to be an audio engineer with good knowledge of sound to take full advantage of this wonderful device. So first, let's talk a bit about the buttons here, which are inspired by morphism to give that slight shadow and are embossed with a small fillet on the sides. All the icons and signifiers are color-coded and easy to use. First, you got a keyboard here, and if you pay attention to the black keys, they are not completely black but only have a black dot, and that too is placed in 3-2-3-2 pattern so that they are always in a cluster, not equally spaced. Then you got 8 buttons for stereo effects and 4 track recorders. On the top, we have an AMOLED display which have a game-like interface. Like here, you see the Mike Tyson character with a punch, rounds, and power options, which are both audio and boxing terms. Then you have 4 knobs on the top that have multiple features depending on if you are in synth, drum, tape, or mixer mode, which you can select from these 4 buttons on the left, under which you have lift, drop, and split buttons. Then we have the record, start, and stop button along with the arrows and shift buttons. The simplicity of the buttons comes from the fact that they all have a plain white base and then a second level of circular interaction point, which makes it a lot more approachable. And then in 2022, they released the OP1 Field, which is an evolved and refined version of the OP1. So of course, the internal processors, engines, and features were improved, but design-wise, they gave the aluminum housing more powdered look. And now the front was not all white, but the buttons were limited within the boundaries. The white became a bit more off-white and the knobs now have a dotted null pattern instead of the old slot pattern. The buttons remains the same, but the use of punchy colors in the icons is very limited. Earlier, the whole left side and the number buttons had different color coding, but now only the knobs and record button are color coded. On the other side, the screen became more colorful and sharp. And on the side, now we have a flip switch for on and off, USB Type-C for the audio and power, and on the back we have a big white plastic rectangle that incorporates 4 raised legs and 2 velcro pads to attach accessories like straps and covers. But now there is no easy access to PCB like before, so repairability is a bit reduced, and the price has been increased from $1,400 to $2,000. And if you want to spend more, then you can buy these accessories. For OP1, they designed a crank, a bender and a shaft. Basically, you can attach all these accessories to the knobs like Lego bricks and then rotate them or interact with them in different ways to produce different sounds. Does anybody need it? Probably not. But for sure, they are cool gimmicks that makes the sound design more playful. And another product which was kind of inspired by Lego bricks is their EP series sampler and composer, which is again an evolution of their first sampler, the Pocket Operator series. So let's have a look at that first. It had a very functional, no-nonsense design with a main PCB board with tactile buttons, a LCD display and 2 knobs on the front, which are similar to the OP1 knobs in terms of slot-shaped patterns. But here, they are very closely positioned, so using them is a bit difficult compared to the OP1. On the back, we have 2 AAA batteries, cleverly incorporated spring that acts as a kickstand. And then we have 2 3.5 audio jacks which acts as audio in and audio out. And they also allow users to combine and make a chain of pocket operators for extensive projects to play them in sync. The most interesting design element here is how they packaged and presented the whole product. They released 9 different versions of Pocket Operator depending on the sound effects they can produce, and each one was packaged with different color scheme on the box as well as on the buttons. But that's not it. Even the theme on the screen was matched with the version of the Pocket Operator. But there was some design element that were constant in all the versions. First, the top hanger, which was an extension of the main board cutout, and it protruded out of the packaging, showcasing the name Pocket Operator. And that's not the only thing that was protruding out of the box. To optimize the box size, they even made hole cutouts for the knobs, so they can peek out of the box, and the color of the knob also gives a feel of the true colors of the plastic buttons. So these knobs, the Lego accessories of the OP1, and the knockout theme with Mike Tyson in both OP1 and PO33 inspired the design of another product, the EP Knockout series of sampler and composer. Till now, we have established that of course they will use punchy colors for the interactive elements, but what's new here is the excessive use of Lego-like connections. If you see on the front, we have a single grey injection molded plastic base with calculator-like square keys, and other than 2 normal knobs, now we also have a knob slider or a fader. We have a segmented hybrid display which looks very cool with all the colored icons. Then in the top section we see very heavy influence from Legos. There is a battery cover and a speaker grill which are attached to the device via these circular Lego-like connections. And as we move to the front of the device, we have a slider button for on and off, and all the input-output ports are like individual Lego blocks color coded separately. And again, with this new device series, they launched a bunch of accessories starting from their own cables and wires to hoodies, bags and caps. And just a few months ago, they announced their medieval EP series composer, which is essentially the same EP Knockout but with different color scheme for the materials, fonts as well as the screen icons. But the one series that made them world famous was the Field series. After the launch and success of OP1 Field and TX6 Field, Teenage Engineering decided to add a recorder and a microphone to this family. I have kept all these 3 together as they share a lot of design elements. Let's start with the TX6. It is a mixer, which means you can input through different stereo channels and then mix tracks based on them. If you look at the device, it has the same aluminum housing with a plastic frame for the internals as the Field OP1 or most of the Apple products. We have a similar power switch on the side. Then on the front, we have 6 input channels with 3.5mm audio jack and 1 USB-C port to connect to smartphones or laptops. And for the output, we have one main 6.35mm jack that comes with an adapter for 3.5mm jack, but it looks like it's a part of the device. We have also aux out and Q out with dedicated buttons to activate them. And now let's go to the main interface of TX6, which is full of knobs. For each of the 6 input tracks, we have 3 color coded small knobs, 1 slider or fader and 1 track button. On the right side, we have 1 main knob which can be used for volume as well as to navigate through the screen. And then we have 2 effects button and 1 shift button. We see how the knob pattern has changed from slot in the OP1 to dotted in OP1 field to fully knurled in TX6. And the best design touch in the TX6 is this smooth black leather cover on the back with this metal surface on the side and two screws. It looks exactly like an expensive leather wallet. And the next product in the Field family is a tape recorder called TP7, which is my favorite, and I think it made teenage engineering popular among users who are not audiophiles. It's not only limited to recording songs or music, but can be used for recording voice memos and conversations. They also launched a free app that can transcribe and convert the recordings and conversations into notes. And if we look at the design of the device, it is even more interesting. It was designed to be used by one hand, so your thumb goes on the memo button on the right, where you can also access user buttons to navigate the menu as well as scrub the wheel as you want. The mechanically rotating wheel takes most of the real estate of the front and gives an interesting identity to the recorder. We have two microphones above the wheel with a screen on the side and a status LED under the wheel. The LED keeps blinking when the recorder is on and turns solid when the recording is in progress. Under this, we have three standard buttons for record, play and stop. The VU meters on the side gives you the audio levels while recording with two quick buttons for plus and minus. Then your fingers comfortably rest on the rocker, so you can quickly fast forward with the index finger and rewind with the middle finger. The mechanical wheel also rotates as per the direction and the speed in which you move the rocker. Under the rocker, we also have a mode button to navigate the modes on the screen. On top, we have one rotating on-off switch which also acts as a master volume control with three in and out 3.5mm audio jacks and one Type-C port for charging and connecting to other devices. And on the bottom, we have a 6.5mm audio jack which comes with a standard teenage engineering 3.5mm adapter. And on the back, it has the same sole as the TX6, just the black leather has been replaced by an orange one. And this design made it one of the most popular products of teenage engineering portfolio. It caught attention of not just audiophiles, but writers, singers, content creators, or basically anyone who liked to take notes and document their thoughts. And there was one more product in the Field family that caught eye of the singers and the content creators like me, and that was the CM15 studio mic. It is a rectangular block of aluminium with speaker mesh that houses a 1-inch diaphragm, underneath which we have the CM15 branding on one side and a gain switch on the other side. This gain switch allows the user to record instrument at 0 gain, songs and notes at level 1 gain, and you can use the level 2 gain if the distance from mic is a bit more than that. On the side, we have the same on-off flip switch as the other Field devices. For the outputs, it got two analog outputs with mini XLR and 3.5mm audio jack, and one digital output with USB-C. And then on the side, you also got a kickstand that comes out so you can put CM15 on the table. In my opinion, CM15 goes best with the tripod stand. Imagine doing the talking head video like this with a white table and the CM15 in front of you. That's a dream studio setup for any content creator. But it doesn't come cheap. This lavalier microphone costs around $30, but the CM15 costs a whopping $1,200 and an extra $200 for the tripod. And it's not just this. The whole Field setup is a bit on the expensive side. Like the OP1 Field cost $2,000, TX6 cost $1,200 and TP7 cost around $1,500. Now the OP1 and TX6 can be counted as a business expense by music producer, but the TP7 and the CM15, which has the potential to reach mass consumer, will fail to do so because of the price. They also have a lot of other products at such a premium price, like the OD1 and OB4 speakers, a field desk and some toys. All these products have great design and people really appreciate and want to own them, but could not cross that barrier of price to get their hands on these products. But Teenage Engineering has done some partnership with other consumer product companies to design physical products or define the design language for them. First, they designed H speaker for company Reventech owned by Baidu. It was an AI speaker designed in the form of a tower of square discs. The upper disc has a dotted display and could be detached from the speaker for various interactions. They also designed another speaker called R with the form factor of a robotic arm. It was supposed to mimic the emotions of bringing AI to life with motion and the dot display as its face. But the whole AI business model of Baidu failed, and then these speakers also failed with them. Then they partnered with a company called Panic to create a gaming console called Playdate. Again, it had sharp, flat edges like the Field family, but the most interesting design element was this crank and lever arm on the right side. It gave a new interactive way to play the games on the big dotted display. Panic also developed special set of games that are compatible with this crank mechanism. But the most important collaboration that Teenage Engineering ever did was with the UK based tech company called Nothing. The first product that Nothing wanted to make was an earbud, and Teenage Engineering was the perfect choice as audio and product design both are their specialty. And when the year 1 was launched, it broke the internet. We can see the identity of Teenage Engineering in its design. The clever use of electronics to enhance the aesthetics, dotted design elements in the boards and the box, and then marketing it with the dotted ladybug. It was a perfectly designed product with a great marketing campaign. Then they worked on defining the whole design language and aesthetic for Nothing, from smartphones to the dotted UI. And everything takes us back to the first dotted speaker grill in the OP1. And one more interesting partnership that happened was with Rabbit. They designed a physical AI assistant called Rabbit R1 for them. It again had the iconic square disc shaped form factor with bright red aesthetics. There is a press to speak button on the right side which can be used to give commands to the voice assistant. One camera on the rotating wheel to scan the objects on the front and the back. One OLED screen on the front to display the information, and one scroll wheel similar to the camera wheel to navigate the screen. They kept the design very simple because the whole idea of a completely new personal computing device was already too much for the user. But unfortunately, the company Rabbit could not take it to the masses, and the future of this device is still hanging in the middle. These partnerships allow Teenage Engineering to test their design philosophy and the style across different markets and products, which are beyond their usual niche. So if I have to summarize the design philosophy of Teenage Engineering, it comes down to three things. First, they focus on the balance between sleek aesthetics and functionality. Their designs are clean with simple forms that don't add unnecessary elements, making the product feel intuitive. The OP1 synthesizer is a great example. Its minimalist aluminum body looks simple, but it's packed with features like a sampler, sequencer, and a controller. Even the tiny Pocket Operator series has that clean, no fuss look, but it still delivers great sound and usability. Their focus on stripping things down without losing purpose really stands out. So the whole design is very minimalistic and functional. Second, their products aren't just cool to look at, they are fun to use too. Teenage Engineering is all about making interaction with tech playful and intuitive. The OP1's color-coded buttons make everything easier to navigate, while quirky features like the AMOLED display with game-like visuals or accessories that let you crank or bend sound show their love for the creativity. Even their TP7 tape recorder adds a tactile element with the rotating mechanical wheel and rockers, making it feel interactive and hands-on. So they focus a lot on introducing something innovative in the user interaction of every device. And the third thing is they are big on using premium materials and collaborating with other creative brands. Their products feel solid and high-end, like the OP1's aluminum body or the TX6 leather back. Collaborations with the companies like Nothing for their Ear 1 earbuds and Panic for the Playdate console show how they can take their design philosophy into different industries while keeping things playful and innovative. These partnerships and their use of high-quality materials make their products both stylish and durable, though they come with a hefty price tag. And that brings us to one question: can they become as big as Apple or Dyson? Because both of these companies were industrial design companies that made products for the masses and are ultra successful now. In my opinion, Teenage Engineering has all the ingredients necessary to replicate their success. The only question is, do they want it? Do they want to make products for a bigger audience at a reasonable price in large numbers? I don't know how the management of Teenage Engineering thinks about that, but I think that they want to do it, but in a very strategic manner with baby steps. Like, let's say the next big thing is the new mobile computing device. They already tried the design with the Rabbit. They have tried a new design language for Nothing. So if and when the time will come, I think with all this experience, they would be able to create something amazing for all of us. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in how a company can fail and turn that into success, watch this video about the Fire phone. I'll see you next time. Thank you.